A guy walks up to me and he says, "Hey, you know what I need to do? I need to animate a Warcraft model and then save that one as a model." How do you do it? Well, that's a good question. Let's pull up my code and let's just dive in. Let's do it. That I think was the wrong one. This is 089. We want 903. So we'll open 903 on top of it because who cares? We'll just close that. Oh, I accidentally clicked pin. Unpin. Close. Pin this one. All right. Close that one. Run this one. Okay, great. 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 Like Tony the Tiger, right? I don't know. I didn't watch advertisements as a kid. So we're starting this one up, and once it starts up, it's going to give us what we want. It's going to give us the code. Okay, and I'm going to put on some slippers because I'm standing today, and my feet are getting tired. So here's the code. Okay, now what you need to do is we have render node. It's the node in the model, and they all move around. And they have these matrices, and we're applying the matrices in animated perspective viewport. Render a geoset, right? What do? I just go to all the little points in geoset, and I transform them by matrix to put them where they are. Obviously, any graphics programmers this would make their eyes bleed. But anyway, we transform all the little vertices in the model, and we put them where they are. And then, what do? Yeah, we take the sum and we take the average. We divide by the number of transforms. And we do that, and that's our guy. Right there. That's where we put our guy. So all you have to do is do the same thing, except instead of GL Vertex 3F, just save it to a model. Right? Just save it to a model. So, in order to do that, all we really need to do is we need a render model and we need a point in time. The render model can give us these render node guys, and then we just apply the point in time and just save that. So let's first give ourselves a button to click on and do that. That's always, I like to just be lazy and put the button wherever. I know there's some UI artists whose eyes probably bleed when I do that. But I mean, I'm pretty sure I literally put, oh, not that one. I'm pretty sure on here, you guys are going to like this. I was working on a thing that lets you choose your Warcraft directory. So like if I choose one that's cask, you can just choose the language here. Solves this language problem people were having. But like if you don't want that, like you could choose an MPQ one or whatever. And then you can add maps to it. So you can have like custom maps and it'll load the custom map units. You know, like here's like a caveling and you can load that out of a custom map over here. And we got particle previews. I've been working kind of hard last week. This week I didn't do anything, but last week we did some work on that. Look at that. That looks pretty cool, right? Anyway, so I'm working on all this particles and all this other stuff. But basically what you want to do is you don't need particles. You just need a model to animate like right here in this static view. So all we need is the code that puts this in a particular pose, and then we just save that pose to a model. So I've literally put buttons in here like put together 2 animations for that guy, DTN, Mang, or Misha. We'll just get a button like that. DT, Mang, or Misha. Okay, combine anims, this thing. We'll just make another one of these. That's just going to be called export static animated to static mesh. It's a pretty good name, right? Export animated to static mesh. We can do this. All right, and we get that. Now let's find this combine animations button. Let's just search up anywhere that's used. Great, it's right here, and it gets added to the tools menu after getting a mnemonic. Okay, equals new menu item with a text. Export animated to static mesh right there. Just, you know, simple like it should be. Export animated to static mesh. I don't know if these mnemonics even work half the time, but sure. We'll do E for export. I have a lot of overlap. A lot of them are wrong. All right. Export to animated static mesh. It's an open source program. If it bothers you that they're wrong, you can fix them. I don't care. Okay. Great. Here's what the button's going to do when we click it. And this is where we need to get access to the current render model. So how do you do that? So we can get current model panel. And this gives, it used to be separate panels. Now it's not. But it's basically like model context. It's like the information of that loaded model. And we can take this thing and we can say get editor render model, and this is the render model of the editor preview. So you can get that, right? Editor render model. That's pretty good, pretty important right there. And you can also do model context get the actual model, which of course is the other thing you need. So now we have the render model, which encodes the state of like how it's currently animated. So as long as you have the animated view open, it'll work. So I guess that's the other thing we need to do. Animation mode state. This thing, if we're not in the animation editor, then we're just going to kill the function in return after giving the user a pop-up that says, and you have to give the pop-up the window to lock down. Error, you must be in the animation editor to use that! Exclamation point. Great. This is an error, and it is of type joptionpane.error message. Okay, great. So this is this pop-up you get if you're not in the animation mode. So we know we're in the animation mode, and we have the render model. It's like, what is its current frame it's in? You know, if it's a footman doing a chop, like, whoop, that's his current chop. And then we have the actual model. So I think the first thing that would be really nice, and I don't actually know if I have a function for this, is I need mdl.deepClone. So with this, we need to do here, does this actually work? How does this work? Oh, this is a really dumb deep clone. Okay, what I do is I save the model to a file and I load it back so that the loaded copy and the one we're saving are separate so that I can mess with the loaded copy without editing the current one. That's really a dumb way to do it, but I think it would work. Is there any reason this wouldn't work? No, there's not any reason this wouldn't work. Yeah, there's like no reason this wouldn't work. Okay, great. So basically, we're going to give it a new frame name thing. So what the name will be, let's just get the header name of the previous model, and then we're going to just name it @ and then we're going to give it editor render model.get render environment knows like the animation time. So it's like frame number. So like a footman at frame 1000, it's going to say like footman at 1000. That's going to be the name of the model file. Okay, we're going to give it the footman to copy. So like we're going to do that. We'll put that in a variable, cloned model. So this is basically our snapshot model, which is a model that we're creating that's like at the current position, like at the snapshot, right? I think that should work, probably. So we do that, and then the next question is, how am I applying that elsewhere? So basically, everything in the snapshot model needs to be done really carefully because when I actually preview things, and this is going to be like geoset renderer impl. Why are there 3 of those? The UV, the animated one, and the normal one. So we want the animated one. So the animated one, this thing understands everything we need to know. But it's annoying to use and has too many fields. So what if we just copy it and call it the animated model snapshot maker? Okay, idea being we're just going to use this same code. Yeah, why is that not? What? Really? Yeah, rename the type. Okay, great. Animated model snapshot maker. So basically what this guy does is we're just going to rip out the graphics to draw it to the screen, right? I don't think we need the program settings. We don't need that. Geoset renderer impl. We'll get to that in a second. So we're going to use the geoset renderer as a hack to render it back into the actual model data where it is. And this is going to, it's kind of a hack, but it's going to save us coding time. So we're going to do that. We don't need to know the vertex size because we're not actually drawing anything to the screen, right? So we can get rid of that. We can get rid of the graphics. We can get rid of the program preferences. We can get rid of any concept of X and Y dimension. There's not any of that. There's not a viewport. There's not a 2D coordinate system we're rendering onto. We're doing this full 3D. Model view. This guy right here. What is the model view? The model view is a wrapper around the model. Sure, honestly, we can do that. So in here where I did model context.getModel, there's also get model view manager. I think extends model view. That's nonsense, but think it's true. Yes, the model view manager is a model view, so that's stupid, but that'll get us the model view here. So yeah, sure, we'll just call it model view manager. It's the thing we need. All right. So we have that over here. So we're gonna have the model view, and then we're gonna have the render model, and that's the guy who knows the current state, like the frame it's in, like how to render at the time. So we have both of those. We can get rid of all these preferences and all this junk. This is a separate class, ID object render. I don't even think we need that. We're just getting rid of that. This would be like for rendering the bones in 2 dimensions. We don't even need to do that at all. Same with beginning geosets. We don't have any concept of color. We don't have any concept of actually rendering the bone. This reset coordinate system. I just don't think we need to do any of this. Yeah, we're not doing any of that. All right, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, just all of these, like all lights, helpers, attachments, like all these, we're just going to handle them by doing nothing. All we need to do is when we're handling the vertices of the geoset, we're going to figure out where we were going to draw it, and then instead of drawing it, we're going to like burn it back into the model data, right? Okay, great. So this is the thing that actually draws a vertex, and I think it has, unfortunately, some concept of like 2D instead of 3D, and we're gonna have to make sure it's 3D. That's the trick. That's the only hard part here. If show normals, we do actually want the normals. That's lighting information, so we don't want to destroy the lighting information. We actually want the animated lighting information on your models. So we'll see if we can get that here for you too. We don't need to draw lines anymore. We don't really need points. But in order for any of that to work, we have to get vertex sum heap x, y, z. So the trick here is really this logic right here. This is what's so important. Matrix transform, take the sum of the transforms and then average it. But summing aside, this is saying, where is the model animated to right now? Figure that out, and then save it back to this guy called vertex sum heap, who's just a temporary holder of where it is. All the rest of this stuff pretty much pertains to this previous vertices dot add. That's interesting. So basically, we do want to do normals always do normals for this, because you want to have your lighting information burned back into model 2. We don't need anything about the zoom. We don't need anything about the coordinate space in 2 dimensions. So basically, this tells us where we are. But once we figure it out, right, we're going to take vertex heap with x, y, and z. This is harder than I thought it was, actually, because this doesn't have the vertex to write it back to. It's like written perfectly to ruin my plans. Well then. Well then, indeed. Okay, new idea. Don't do any of this. Just copy this code of what to do to a vertex, and we're going to make a loop, and we're going to do it to every vertex. And that's all we need to do. Frankly, that is all we need to do. So we're just going to, I'll leave this file for a moment, but we're going to delete it very soon here. So we have the model, we make the snapshot model. Now, for every geoset in the snapshot model, okay, we're going to then go to every geoset vertex, which is a special class holding the points in the geoset, right? And we have to animate them, we have to move them. So this is in get vertices in the geoset. And we're going to loop through all those. What is the issue here? Oh, snapshot model. Get geosets. There are other things in the model. We need to tell it to loop through the geosets of the model. So we do the too much red. Okay. We need the vertex heap from this guy, from thingy maker, animate model maker. Okay, I need all these vertex heap thingies. Yeah, just put those in here. They don't even need to be static private. They just final. Sorry, I accidentally deleted something off of that one. Vector 4F. Okay, so we do that basically, and that gets us here, where we then need to say vertex.get bone attachments, or just get bones. Okay, get bones. Okay, it's not going to let me use the automated code editor. Oh, it is. Okay, good. So this is going to get us the bones of the vertex. Obviously, XYZ is just, did a jump there, sorry. XYZ is just going to be vertex.x, vertex.y, vertex.z, right? We're just going to get those points. Then we have to access the render model. So that's going to actually be the editor's render model that we pulled out of the editor. So we'll take that, we'll get the render node. We will figure out where the vertex should be, and then we're going to scratch this two-dimensional rendering logic. Let's totally get rid of that. And instead of two-dimensional rendering, all we need to do is then say vertex.x equals, sorry, my auto-suggest is bad sometimes, vertex sumHeap.x, and we're going to do this with yz. So basically, we're going to write back to the vertices point in space the data out of where we rendered it at. Seems like a good idea, right? Great. So we'll do that, and then now we have to do the same thing with the normals. So vertex.getNormal.x, right? It's just the normals, which the normal is just a spatial vector that we handle the exact same way. It tells the program about the surface so that it looks nice. So once we do that, and it's like makes light render in a pretty way, then just vertex.getNormal.x equals normal some guy x, right? So we're writing back, and this is the special code that didn't used to be in the program. We're writing back to the actual model data where we are drawing it at. So that's pretty good and does a lot of what you want, but here's the other thing I would suggest. I think that we actually want to destroy the animation information on this model, specifically because by doing that, we result in having a totally, like in a model that's just stuck in a pose, right? Where all the other stuff is gone. So let's do that. And basically all you need to do for that would be model.get. So I called the nodes ID objects. That's really sad, but just ID objects.clear. And then model.add, and let's give it a new bone that's just going to be called bone underscore root. It has no animation data. So this is going to be the root bone, bone root, basically, root bone guy. And the key I'm going for with this bone root is that we could again loop through all the vertices and just make sure that they're all attached to this bone, right? So vertex.bones is like the list of bones that define that vertices movement. So if we clear it and then we add bone root, right? Then like all the vertices that we've moved into this animated pose, now we're going to be not continuing to move. They're going to just be locked onto like bone root, center of the model. We probably also want to take bone root and set pivot point to a new vertex that just is at 0, 0, 0. So like it's the center of the model. It's just like the origin point. Great. So this is like almost everything you would want, but now the problem is we need a save pop-up. So do I have like file chooser, J file chooser? Okay, so you can make this thing called a J file chooser. I was just wondering if I already have one created. Doesn't look like we do, so let's just make a default one. J file chooser, set file filter. So we got to tell them to save as MDX. This is pretty dumb. There's already one of these. Is it called JFC? No, it's not called JFC. Really? MDX. Okay. No, not that one. FC. Okay, this guy FC. We're going to use this to do a save dialog because actually that's way easier and better. And it already says in it that you can only choose a model file. So show save dialog of the main panel. Come on, not this. Okay. Title. Set save title. Set dialog title. Here you go. Export static snapshot. Okay, so it has like a title on the pop-up, right? And we're going to show the user the save dialog, and then we get a result from that, right? So if the user pushes OK, JFile chooser approval option, like they have just like super actually chosen a model, and the file that they have actually chosen to save to is a legit thing, and it's not like no file. They literally saved a file where they want to put it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take snapshot model and we're going to print it out to that file. Like we're just going to give it to them on the hard drive. Like boom, snapshot to the hard drive. Awesome. So let's do it with a footman. Let's give it a shot. Why is there code error here? Oh, we got to delete the animated match snapshot maker thing. We decided we don't need that. We just copied his code out of there. All right, great. My code out of there. I mean, the code of the class. Him being the code class. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to show you. Here's a footman, and the code that we just wrote for this footman is supposed to be such that if it actually works and it's doing what we intend, then in Stand Victory, when he raises his sword above his head like this, right, we should be able to go Tools. I don't see it in Tools. I think we forgot to add it to the Tools menu, guys. That's okay. Let's fix it. Okay. Tools menu dot add. Come on, it's called export. Export animated to static mesh. Okay, great. I just forgot to put it on the Tools menu, right? So we didn't see the button, which is just silly. Now, if I go to, we can't go to Tools until we open a model. Now, if I go to Tools, we have Export Animated to Static Mesh. So what if I do that right now? Export Animated to Static Mesh. It says you must be in the animation editor to use that. Okay, so let's click on Animation Editor. Select Nodes and Animate right up here at the top. And I can go to any frame. If I accidentally drag the footer, which I did not intend to do, we can put the footer back on the bottom. Sorry, that was a mistake. Then we click down here, choose Time Bound. So we can choose the animation. We can go to Stand Victory. And he's like, woo, with his sword above his head. Just right like that, right? And then, once we do that, I can say Tools, Export Animated to Static Mesh. And I'll just go to Warcraft 3 Models. And we'll just make this the footman statue. It's mad at me. A matrix reference was missing in the model. Did I move geometry between models and forget to update bones? I didn't think I did. Well, that's sad. Okay, so it didn't work. So something about clearing bones list didn't actually clear, or something like that. I'm not sure why that was. It's supposed to be this easy. Print 2. Does print 2 do save preps? We have to do this thing called save preps. Let's do that. It's like preparation for saving. It's really stupid. You shouldn't have to do that. It's a code flaw in my system. The way that I coded it, it's just flawed. But I think it might help us. So let's double check that one. I don't know. That might help us. It might not. Okay, I'm using the F hotkey, which just opens the animation mode. All right, so yeah, we're here. This is not as good of a pose. Export to static mesh. Warcraft models. It shouldn't start in documents. Footman statue 2. Still has the bug. Okay. Something is more broken than I thought. So, snapshot model. Oh, here's the issue. I'm calling model dot do this. No. We never should reference model except to clone. After that, no more referencing. It needs to always be the snapshot model, right? That much makes sense. We probably don't even need to do the save preps. Like, I think I fixed that years ago. All right, great. So we're going to delete that, and we're going to delete this. And let's just try it again here. Let's do it. All right. Bookman. Okay. All right, let's get a good pose. I have a good feeling about this. Like, I think it might work. I mean, obviously nothing really ever works the first time, but like, you know, I mean, it might work, right? Why wouldn't it work? That's a really good question. Why wouldn't it work? Okay, Warcraft 3, models, Footman statue 3. There you go. So that just kind of worked. And now if I'm in that same models folder, up one level, Footman statue 3. Where are you, Footman? I don't see it. I know why I don't see it too. This is really dumb. Okay? Without any special intelligent code, it's forgetting to add .mdx. I forgot to put in there to name it .mdx for sure. So if I name it Footman statue 3.mdx, and then we go back to the open menu, now Footman statue 3 is actually here. Okay? Unfortunately, we can see that we did not successfully write back to the model data. It created a footman that has no animations. Or like he still has the animations listed, but they don't do anything. So we correctly deleted the animations, but we did not correctly we did not correctly pose him, which is, of course, the most important thing we were trying to do at all. So I thought that this would do it by looping through the geosets and then looping through the vertices of the geosets and then trying to animate them based on the render model. But there's a reason why that didn't work, right? Obvious reason why, really. And this gets into the concept of what we're doing. Without thinking about it too much, I took the model, I replicated the model to another copy of it, so we got 2 copies of the model, and then I took the information about where the model's animated to, and I tried to apply it to this guy. But actually, there's specific references, because of how it's set up, that where he's currently animated to is referencing the model doing the animating and not our copy of it. So that's going to make this a little bit harder, and I'm going to show you how to get around it. So basically what we need to do, instead of just looping directly through the geosets, we need a geoset index, right? And we're going to have geoset index. It's going to go from 0 to the number of geosets, and it's going to be looping through both models in parallel. So we're going to animate, and we're going to produce the animated variant of the original model, which turns out to be, because of how this is coded, the only one that the animation data in its current snapshot way that it's coded is relevant for. And then we're going to animate where that guy is, and then we're going to like burn that into the data, like save that to the new model, as opposed to trying to animate the new model and save it to himself, which is what's going on here. So we're going to do that, and that shouldn't be very hard. Like, we're still going to have this done in like 2 more minutes. We just got to get geosets.size, right? And then geoset index plus. So it's pretty much exactly the same for most of this. And then we're just going to say geoset equals, this is the key model.get geoset index as opposed to snapshot model, but also snapshot model.get geoset, also from the geoset index. So what this does is this gives us access to geoset and snapshot geoset both, which means that then when I have a vertex index looping through all the vertices of these same guys, the vertex index, and we know that they both have the same number, right? Geoset.get vertices dot size, vertex index increase. So basically this gives me the ability to now loop through all the vertices of the geoset, apply this same logic to the original geoset, and then save to the new geoset instead of the original when I actually save it back. We're going to save it back to the snapshot, and we're going to do the same thing with the normal. And this is going to mean that the snapshot is going to be animated. Well, I guess I can't do snapshot geoset here. I suppose I need to do, yeah, we can't have this. We can't have this. Okay, vertex equals geoset.get vertex index. Great, we're going to do that. And then that was pretty good. But there's another problem here. Snapshot geoset can't be that, right? So we got to use snapshot geoset get vertex just the same way to make it the snapshot vertex, the corresponding snapshot vertex. And we are going to write to that guy where we are. Let's do it. Just code that right back in. Cool. Now it'll probably work, right? Why not? You know what? While we're here in the code, if selected file not equal null, then we're just going to say if not selected file path ends with .mdx, then selected file equals a new file of selected file.getPath plus .mdx. So that'll always make it always save an mdx. Don't ever save like a glitchy other thing. Wouldn't want to do that. Also, when we're checking it, let's check lowercase. If you type capital MDX, we're fine there too. All right, great. So now we can do that. Now we'll have just an easy time. Everything will just work great because we fixed it, right? Why not? Why not? I think so. I think it would work great. All right, let's check out a FUM in here. So he's got stand victory. That looks good. Let's go in here in the animation editor. We'll click select nodes and animate. We'll choose animation. Let's do attack. That sounds fun, right? Instead of stand victory. We'll get him right here like that. That's a good, well, I'll raise it a little bit, right? Like right there. Yeah, like right there, right? Okay, great. Let's save that to a export animated to static mesh. All right, great. And we're just going to save this to a Warcraft 3 models. footman statue 4. All right, now open, oh, not save, sorry. Open footman statue 4, and look at that. It works like a charm. Saves the footman, all his animations, he just is static. You know, if you even wanted to, actually, the other thing you could do here at the end is you could say snapshot, get anims, which is a list of animations. You could clear the animations, and you could add a new animation that has like no other data other than name stand, and it runs from 333 to 1333 with a minimum extent of what? I don't know what the extents are supposed to be. Whatever the footman's extents are, which I don't actually know. So yeah, let's just check that. Let's just make it an animation. We're not gonna give it all that other junk. There we go. Yeah, it's just a basic stand. You'll see what this is all about here. You'll see. Let's do it again. All right. You know, the other thing I noticed is you can see his body, right? You don't really want to see his body. So, yeah, we'll just loop through all the geosets again. But here's the key. If I do snapshot, this is a little fancy. If I get the geosets of the snapshot model and I use an iterator on it, then we can delete geosets. So this is the geoset iterator. And the point is, I can say while geoset iterator. Generally, this is repeat functionality to like all these loops I was doing, right? Geoset iterator dot next, okay. Geoset, but here's the key, right? Geoset get geoset anim. This is able to return null, right? Yeah, okay. So basically, we're gonna get the geoset's animation information. Come on. Okay, geoset anim. I'm waiting on the computer here. If geoset anim is non-null, so if it has animation data, like the body of the footman, we want to hide it. We want it to disappear in our snapshot model, so it just isn't there, being annoying. So that way I can say geoset anim.get visibility flag, which is like the thing processing the visibility, and we can say interpolate at render model get render environment. So basically this will interpolate at visibility value. Unfortunately, we don't immediately know what kind of value that is yet, but I think it should be true that it should probably be a double. So visibility equals double visibility value. So basically we do that. I guess you can actually type check it, so you can say only do this if visibility. That way it doesn't crash on anything weird. So we do that. We type check it if it's that kind. Then we do a cast, which is just, this is just like a really hacky way of getting access to whether or not the geoset's visible. So this is just the visibility. Like, there's too many of these things. All right, basically, if the visibility value is less than like 0.75, so it's like faded away or whatever. Actually, how about just less than 0.01? If it's 0, if it's really 0, like if he's just not there at all, then make it disappear. And we do that by saying geoset iterator dot remove. That's why we're using the iterator, so we can like just ping out geosets, just rip them out of model as we go. All right, great. So we're going to do that. That should be good. Just how you would want it. Just how you would want it. You can build this program from source. I'm not doing things that you can't do. All right. So now we're going to go to, how about attack defend? That's going to make a good animation, right? That'll be good. Like, what do you think? Oh, I did this again. I don't know how I did that. That was not what I meant to do. Well, I do know how. I clicked it and dragged it, but I meant to be dragging this black thing. So I don't know, like defending stabbing. That's a good animation pose, right? Export animated to static mesh. Footman statue 5. So if this worked, he won't have a corpse. He'll just be a footman statue 5. It didn't work. There's no file there. Okay, what went wrong? What? No. Export animated to static mesh. Footman statue 5. Did I spell it wrong? .mdx, footman statue 6. I mean, what's up? Oh, made statue 6. Why didn't it make statue 5? Well, that's weird. Maybe sometimes you got to use it twice. So anyway, this just has a stand animation. It's just blank. It just has a stand animation, and the corpse is gone because we got rid of that. So that pretty much answers your question. This ought to work on just about any model in the entire game. We could do like this guy, try to catch him right in the coolest part of his pose here, and it should still work. So this is going to bring up another really interesting question. Suppose we're right here, and I choose export animated to static mesh, and I make this Spellbreaker statue, and I save that right there, and I open a Spellbreaker statue. Right, it saved him, but you'll note the this glowy thing is like based on like where the camera was or something, and it just inherits like a flat thing. It's no longer camera facing. It looks like it still has its coloration data, but it's no longer camera facing. So that one's just because of the way the code is right now. I mean, you could try to fix that if you really wanted to, but obviously it would take a little while. And if what you're doing is like printing these out as paper mache, I don't think you can tell your paper mache to always face your eyeball anyway, so you could probably just delete that. I mean, you could even just like click up here and just like click component and click delete or something like that, right? So yeah, there you go. That would be how you would do that. If you are skeptical that this actually works, let's put it in a Warcraft map. So now I have saved as version 7. Let's put that and the footman here in this particular Warcraft map, just some random map I had open. It was just to totally verify that what we've created are valid Warcraft models, right? You would never want something that would make files that seem valid but aren't. So we got Footman Statue 6, and we should also have Spellbreaker Statue 7. Great, and let's just save the game, and we'll put both of those on one of these statue doodads. Statue, model file, Footman Statue. Ooh, that's why we double check. So, do you guys know why that happened? You probably don't, but I think I might. And I think I know how to fix it. Maybe. I have a hunch. One of the things that is most common to go wrong in this is geosynonyms. So then I think what we need to do is say snapshot model dot remove geosynonym so that that is no longer included in the model either. Maybe. I'm kind of skeptical of that. It's probably not that actually. That brings up the question, what is the problem? It's a model that doesn't move, doesn't have any animation data. So what is it complaining about? I don't know. I made a statue. We'll see if Blizzard fixes that one. Okay. What do you know? Some things don't work the first time. So, I mean, it works in my code. Does it work in Blender? I don't know. You'll have to tell me. Well, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to open the Footman statue right there. It's clearly almost valid. And we're going to save it as a text-based because when I read those, usually I understand what's going on and have an easy time fixing the problem. So I should be able to just go here, go to the Footman Statue 6.mdl and pull up that, and maybe it'll tell me what's wrong. Just maximize that guy. So he's got stand animation. It seems to have a bogusly inserted, generally valid extent value. Obviously, it's not great. It's a little wrong, but that doesn't kill the game. He's got his texture information. That's all fine. Okay, a bunch of vertices. Those should be fine too. Vertex groups are just all linked to matrices chunk 0. Still has some animation information that shouldn't be there, but I don't think that matters. I do not think that matters at all. Geosynonyms, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but how many geosets do we actually have? 2. Yeah, see, I think that's the problem. Footman at 361, right there. All right. So let's do it again. with the new code that deletes the geoset anim. And I think that'll get us a valid product in the game. I think the game rejects extra geoset animations like that. I should probably make it so that the program's not even capable of saving them, because obviously they're quite a bit of a problem. So we're just going to go to stand victory and make this like a posed footman right there. Export static mesh, posed footman.mdx. Okay. Now, spellbreaker. Go back to animation mode. We'll make him do that cool spell animation again. Shoop. Alright. Export static mesh, posed spellbreaker. Okay, great. Now I need the world editor. The one on my taskbar is an old one, and it's bad, and we don't want that. Warcraft 3, x86-64, world editor! Boom! There we go. Let's check them out. Checking them out. Checking them out. I named them posed, so that's how you know. Choose the ones that are named posed. That are not there. Why is it doing that? It's not saving them, and worst of all, the worst thing it can possibly do, it's not saying why. But it worked the second time that I used it. You get it? I don't get why that's the case. F5. Okay, where's it saving to? Because it's clearly not saving where I thought it's saving. Oh, it's just saving to documents. That's why they're not there. Okay, we'll just go to documents. Sure. We'll get them out of documents. Okay, posed footman. It doesn't matter where I save them. It matters if they work. And it did work. Posed spellbreaker. Okay. Now it wants to save the map in documents. What a shame. Alright, this is posing models. Test file. Okay. Footman. I want you to use posed footman. Great. Spellbreaker. I want you to use posed spellbreaker. Great. Okay, as you can see, we have effectively created a static posed footman and a static posed spellbreaker and a static pose of just about anything else you could possibly want. And there, in these models, there's just absolutely no animation data. Once you get to the end of the geometry, that's just the end. It just says bone root, you're done. So there you go. There you go. I guess these geoset anims still have some data, but it's not going to use that, is it? I hope not. Maybe we should just get rid of those entirely. I'll do that in another video. It basically works. All right. Have a good one.